Okay, welcome. Today we're going to make super quick chicken cacciatore. And the reason that it's super quick is because you can make this in the amount of time it takes you to drink a glass of wine and cook up some pasta or rice. The chicken cacciatore I grew up on as a kid was made with bone-in chicken and simmered for hours, and so it took all day, but this we're going to do in about 15 or 20 minutes. Now the cool thing about this is one of the cheapest things you can make, unless you end up using like all crazy organic ingredients. This can be a really cheap dinner. So chicken cacciatore, we start with 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken. These are breasts and thighs. About a cup of chopped bell peppers. Now you can skip bell peppers and use mushrooms instead, but the people that I live with will not eat a mushroom because they say it's slimy, so bell peppers. A handful of chopped fresh flat leaf or Italian parsley, 1 small onion, and then the amount of garlic depends on how much you like. Like if you're kind of weak sauce, you can go with 3 cloves of garlic. As you can see, I'm using the equivalent of 4 really big cloves, so anywhere from 3 to 6. Then you need extra virgin olive oil. You need a can, 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes, and you need some chicken stock or chicken broth, salt and pepper, and that's basically it. And here's what we're going to start by doing. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take these chicken breasts and we're just going to brown them. And you don't have to worry about cooking them all the way through, because after you brown them on both sides, you're going to pop them out of the pan, cut them into bite-sized chunks, drop them back into the sauce, and they will finish cooking inside the sauce. So this is the most time-consuming part of it, where you're browning up this chicken. And when you put it in the pan, you just want to throw a little salt and pepper at it. I can't let my youngest see me using pepper because then it'll be spicy and her mouth will be burning. That kid has no idea the things I slip into her food, including pepper and anchovies and paprika and God knows what, all vegetables. Okay, so all we do there is we're going to brown that off and then cut it into bite-sized chunks. And this is just kosher salt. Oh, and I left out the most important ingredient, a generous glug of wine. What kind of wine? Whatever you have open. Now, typically in our house, whatever is open is also empty, but here's a rare occurrence. There's half a bottle left. And when I say a glug, that translates to about maybe a 1/4 cup of wine if you want to measure it out. For the chicken broth, we're going to go with anywhere from 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup of broth. The only reason that you would use more broth is if you were going to make this with bone-in chicken, because if you're making this with bone-in chicken, it's going to simmer for hours, and and that liquid will naturally reduce as it simmers, and so you need to have more liquid in the pan. If you use more liquid now, the sauce will be thinner and it won't really cling to the pasta as well. So anywhere from 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup. All right, here the chicken. Here it goes. And we'll just let that get nice and brown and golden on the sides. Now, for the garlic and onions, here's the situation in my house. My kids eat garlic, no problem. But if they detect an onion in their food, they have this horrifying reaction, kind of like a food allergy, except the symptoms are drama and hysterics. And then the youngest will spend the entire meal picking microscopic bits of onion out of her food like this. And that drives me crazy. So what I have done instead, what I've learned to do instead, you just have like a little mini chopper here, chunk up the onion and put the garlic and all in there all together. And I'm gonna chop this into an absolute paste that even my kids can't detect. Get on in there. And when it cooks down, everything will melt and you'll never know that there's this much onion and garlic. Oh, for God's sake. There we go. You'll never know how much onion and garlic is in there. And if you don't have one of these mini choppers, you should totally get one. All right. It goes really fast. And what you end up with, let me show you so you can see. What you end up with, you see how it's just really kind of a mush? By the time we brown that off and cook it in the sauce, it's going to disappear. And even the pickiest kid is not going to be able to tell that there's an onion in there. But you know, like I tell my girls all the time, we can't eat ketchup and white bread every night for dinner. You have to have some spices. Okay, here comes our chicken. You see how fast that starts to brown? It goes really, really quick. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Now we can't put it back in here because this had raw chicken in it. But this is what you want, man. You want all that crispy brown. And this is worth that extra step because this adds to the flavor of the sauce. In case you're wondering, like, why not just get a rotisserie chicken and dump some jarred spaghetti sauce on it and call it a day? You can do that. I mean, you can definitely do that, but at that point, all you have is jarred spaghetti sauce and chicken, which is delicious, and I eat that any night of the week. Chicken cacciatore, all the brown stuff in the pan that I left in there, it flavors the sauce, and the sauce ends up tasting like just essence of chicken. So you really want that extra step. All right, so we toss in the onions and garlic. Every cookbook in the world, every recipe says, soften your onions for 5 minutes, which is a filthy lie. It always takes longer than that. But when they're chopped up that fine, they will go pretty fast. You just want to watch the heat because burned garlic is really, really bitter. And ain't nobody interested in that. Okay, then you just add in your peppers. This is the stage 2 where if you wanted to use mushrooms, you could toss those in. But I think I mentioned that the heathens in this house will not eat a mushroom on a dare. So then all we're going to do is cook this long enough for the peppers to soften up a little bit. And it'll take a few minutes, and just keep an eye on it, you know, so that you don't accidentally overcook the garlic. There you go. All right, so here's how you know when the peppers are just about ready. Give them a good poke with whatever utensil you're using, and they don't fight back too much, and that's all it takes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add the can of crushed tomatoes. And if you're growing your own and canning your own tomatoes, you go, girl. I'm afraid of canning things. I'm afraid of giving the children botulism. Okay, so you add in the can of tomatoes and give that a little bit of a stir. Right? And then you're going to add in your broth. There you go. And give that a big stir. And then it's wine time. And this is what a glug of wine looks like. Ready? You go. It's been kind of a day. That's it. That's all you need. And you give that a big stir. Ooh. Okay, now don't turn your heat off because this bad boy's going to simmer. So what we're going to do right now, I'm moving my parsley out of the way. We're going to take the chicken, and all you're going to do is cut it into some good-sized chunks. And you can see this chicken is mostly cooked, but like I said, you don't have to worry about any kind of pink spot because all of that is going to cook off in the sauce. And don't make it into little bite-sized cubes like it's, you know, canned soup. You want some decent-sized chunks in there, right? And the browning it and seasoning it ahead of time not only makes the chicken better, but it jumps into the sauce too. So you can see this breast is just ever so slightly underdone, not a worry. And like I said before, if you wanted to make this like a rainy Sunday all day thing, you would just use bone-in chicken, which has way more flavor than boneless, and you would cook it longer with a little more broth. And that's the only difference that you would make in the recipe. And in fact, if you want to do this, this is a really easy thing to do. Brown the chicken, saute the onions and garlic and the peppers and everything, and then assemble all the other ingredients in a slow cooker and put it on low for, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours or so, and then dinner's ready and you don't even have to stay in the house with it. Okay, almost done. And then all we're going to do here is add all that chicken back into the sauce. And the thing about this chicken cacciatore recipe is this is about chicken. This is not about vegetables or anything else. This is a chicken dish that's all about the chicken. And then, because you don't want to be wasteful, and all those delicious chicken juices, and olive oil and spices. You want to get that in the pan too. All right, then you give that a stir. Okay. I'm surprised the dog isn't barking. You give that a stir. Look at that. Beautiful. So you want to let this simmer for, I don't know, about as long as it takes to cook a pound of either fettuccine or linguine or spaghetti or angel hair. About as long as it takes to cook that. So anywhere from, 12 to 20 minutes. You can also do this with rice. But what I do sometimes is I take this basic idea and I turn it into a little Frankenstein that we call Tex-Mex jambalaya around here, and serve it with rice. And I'll make that video another day because that is really good and really easy and a great way to use up leftovers. So while that simmers for the amount of time that it takes you to make your pasta, we're just going to take your parsley here. Ready? And I don't know how much this is. All you're looking for is a handful. And you're just going to chop it kind of roughly. And if you only have dried parsley, go ahead and use dried parsley. No one's going to come to your house and take you away for it. It's just that fresh parsley has more of a green, crispy, fresh taste. And it's really pretty and really delicious. And it really does add something. It's not just a garnish. Okay, then all we're going to do with the parsley, see what I mean by a handful? Just sprinkle that on in. See how that's bubbling? Yum, 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 yum. Okay, and in the amount of time it took to do this, you've had a glass of wine. And now you're feeling much better about your day. Just about ready for dinner. Let's let that bubble. Okay, and when it's ready and simmered a little bit, and it can simmer longer, this is not an exacting science. All you want to do is spoon some over your freshly cooked pasta. I used fettuccine here. If you want, you can sprinkle it with some freshly grated cheese or some of that stuff in the can. Live your life. Serve it with salad and some crusty bread and some more wine, and boom, the world's quickest chicken cacciatore.